Hi, welcome to the Shelly Studio, and today I am doing my monthly art prompt challenge. This one is for March. If you want a copy of the page with the prompts and everything, that will be on my community page. It'll also be on my Facebook and my Instagram, and you can get it from there. So this is the third one. I've made it 3 months so far. Woohoo! And I am doing this in a magazine. Well, it's more of a advertisement brochure. It had a few pages, enough to do 12 months in it. So I've got to cover up the page. So I am just using some white gesso. I had a little paint on my brush. I was trying to make that Caribbean green. So I was mixing colors. And yeah, so I had a little bit of that on my brush, and my gesso is very dry, so it was leaving a bit of lumps, so I had to scrape it with my card. And there's my, it's kind of close, I guess, to the Caribbean green. If I look at the printout of my art prompts and the color on my paint, that doesn't match, but the idea is to just get as close as you can, use them as inspiration. You don't have to do exact colors. Certainly don't want you to go out and buy colors if you're participating in this. And if you are, tag me on Instagram. That's the easiest place, I think. And let me know you've created a page, because I'd love to see if anybody is doing this and what you create from the prompts and everything. So I just thought I'd add some color. I didn't think that paint was going to go that far, but it covered the whole page, and I have extra. All right, so the prompts, and I'll read the prompts off and then tell you because I don't do them necessarily in order. So the first one is add textures. So this is texture paste. This is actually a sample of, I think it's light modeling paste from Golden. It's part of a sample set. Then it's sheet music, numbers, add a border, add a quote, paint with your eyes closed, that's really hard, add neon, washi tape, and add pastel or gel crayon. So those are my prompts that I have to go with. And then the words for inspiration were survival, statement, and onion. And that's from a random word picker. So, yeah. I did the random word picker. I redid it 3 times, and finally on this one I'm like, okay, I can't keep doing this. So we went with survival, statement, and onion. And they're just for inspiration, so you don't have to use the words if they don't inspire you. I usually plug in a couple of the words and type the word quote into Google and see what kind of quote pops up, and then that becomes my inspiration. But I'm adding this texture paste, and I decided to make it kind of a wave. I didn't really have anything in mind, but I love how this turns out. I have to tell you, I love how this turns out. So, got to clear everything away. This is actually a printed copy of some sheet music, so I'm going to use it, and I decide I'm going to draw like a cut in half onion on it, which is just basically a bowl shape, right? So this is my onion. Not the best, but hey. Just firm up those lines with a Sharpie. And then I'm going in with colored pencil to put the rings, that's the onion. If you slice it in half, you get the rings. And I was going to shade with that and decided to pull out some of the Distress ink, Vintage Photo, to do some shading. And then I was thinking onions have a little bit of a yellow tint to them, so I pulled out some yellow and started painting with that. And I decided, wasn't sure that that was going to look like an onion. So now I've got a little bit of parchment I'm adding to it. There we go. Does that look like an onion? Maybe a little. Trying to cover up that black line I had there. So how is everyone today? Hope you're doing well. Adding a little brown, trying to cover up the black line that I had made earlier. That was a Sharpie Creative Marker. I guess my onion's going to be a little bit of orange. I just kind of like that look. And it goes with my colors. The colors, did I say? I used the random color picker, and it came up with carrot, scarlet, and Caribbean green. The carrot and the scarlet look pretty close. Like, I always thought scarlet was red, but this scarlet looks a little on the orangey side, in my opinion. So there's my onion. And I'm adding a little bit more of that to just kind of shade it a little bit. And it's going to sit right there in my wave. And the next prompt was numbers, so I decide I'm just going to, gosh, I didn't know you can't really see them. I mixed the color that I painted the background with, and so this is the pure color, and it is visible, but just barely visible to see those numbers. I'm just trying to not go outside of the edges. If you've got this on a big enough screen, you can probably see the numbers. And this stencil is a PM Artist Studio stencil. The designer, I believe, is Carrie Griffiths, known on YouTube as Carrie the Crafter. I'm just putting that everywhere. I don't know why it's not showing up very well. So I decide one place that the number will show up is on the onion. So I'm going to place a number 4. Just picked it just because. And so now I have a number on my onion. The next prompt was add a border. So I just have this tape. It's like washi. It's more plasticky though. And I'm just putting glue along the edges. That's the art glitter glue, because I think it holds really well and it holds quickly. And I'm just putting that tape around the edges. And another reason I picked this particular tape is because it had some of the colors, or similar colors, as the color prompts. So I thought it would match the project. Otherwise, I would have left it borderless. I decided to miter the corners to make it look a little like a frame. Just not perfectly, just as close as I could. It's always fun working with tape. Just trimming the edges. Sorry, it's like right at the bottom of the screen there. So before looking at the next prompt, I decide I'm going to glue this down already. So the next prompt, which is why that's covered with painter's tape now, is to paint with your eyes closed, because I don't want to get paint on that. So I've decided I'm going to do the wave part because I can feel where it is. I do mush up this paint before I close my eyes because it is the cheddar. So this is what I'm using as carrot. It's the cheddar and it's all lumpy bumpy. And I had a really hard time closing my eyes and doing this. I don't know. I think I was trying to make sure I had paint on my brush because it didn't feel like anything. After using the gloppy, cheddary stuff, the other scarlet color was too soft. I couldn't tell. Hopefully. I'm sitting there hoping I didn't get it all over the place where it doesn't belong. But then I decided that was enough of eyes closed. So my eyes are open. And I'm looking for a baby wipe to clean up my mess. And I'm going to keep going. Filling in all the white area. And hoping the painter's tape doesn't peel the paint off the paper. It survived, yay. I actually like these two colors together, or three colors together. Like the scarlet and the carrot, which that is scarlet. I did have some scarlet red. But the carrot is actually cheddar. And then the Caribbean green, which mine's more of a turquoise. I do like those colors together. To get a little depth, I'm adding some black. Just to make some variation in my orange water. That was a bit messy. And I'm just wiping my paintbrush off on that other side of the magazine page. It's going to be covered with the prompts, so I'm not too worried about it. Now, I had some of the blue left over, and I put it on a wet palette. This is the first time I've used this wet palette, and I think there's too much water in the sponge underneath because it did make the paint really thin. So it doesn't cover up the mistakes as well as I had hoped. I think I ended up doing a couple of layers. But now I've got to figure out what to put on my onion that's floating on the water. And these are magazine cutouts. This one, I thought it worked because her outfit is, close to the colors. So I combined two of the prompts. I when I combined washi tape and add a border, and now I'm combining add neon with and pastel or gel crayon. So I'm adding the neon. This one is a neon orange, and I'm just adding it to my wave with a, well, it's really a tempera stick, but it's kind of like a gel crayon. So I'm counting it. I cut out several figures out of magazines because I decided I wanted a person on that onion. And oh yes, and I decided to outline my border and emphasize the frame idea. And I'm using a Sharpie that's not got a lot of juice, so I'll grab another one. But I have a magazine, a Harrods magazine. It belonged to somebody that I worked with, and it came to them at work, and they no longer work there. So I kept it. Is that wrong? I went looking. They're expensive, these Harrods magazines. Other than to cut them up for collage, I don't know what the appeal is. But this particular Harrods magazine had like a whole bunch of people like tipping over, like tilting their heads like they're asleep while they're doing whatever they're doing. And so I cut her out. Didn't like that one. This one I liked better. But I really wanted, I don't know. And I found this one. So they're supposed to be looking like they're falling asleep. But I decided they could look like they're almost falling off the onion in this wave. Right? So I thought they were perfect. And one girl's got the right color outfit on. And so I also told you I Google quotes to find inspiration. And the quote I found, I could not find who coined this quote the first time. So I don't have a name associated with it. And I searched it, the quote, after I found it, and I could find books, but not the quote itself. And it's art is a survival instinct. I liked it. I thought it went with the words for inspiration. It went with the subject matter because they're trying to survive on this onion in this crazy lava flow looking water. So what do you think? You gonna try it? I really like how this one turned out. Let me know what you thought. Or you think. So there it is. Got a picture here in a second. Let me know if you liked it. If you did, give me a thumbs up. Leave me a comment. Love to hear your comments. If you like what you see and you are not a subscriber, hit that subscribe button. It doesn't cost anything. Thank you all for watching. I hope you have an awesome day.